Hello students, I hope you all are doing really well. Today we are going to have a look at the topic of business communication, which is his unit for communication skills. Today we will try to understand what does the communication stands for. Here in this picture you can look at there is a communication shared very briefly. In today's era, we share our messages through WhatsApp, through social media platforms, and there are many other means. You can see YouTube, you can chat, you can share. So, whatever is shared through any means or in a verbal or non verbal manner, that is considered as communication. In another slide, we will try to understand what does the communication word means. Communication word means sharing of thoughts, ideas, goals, concerns, problems, needs or dreams. Anything whatever is shared from person to person. Here I am a person who is trying to share my thoughts, my ideas on the topic communication, and you are the receiver. In this slide, you can understand what does the communication stands for. The communication is the process of sharing or passing information and understanding the same from one person to another person through verbal and non-verbal means. That means I am a sender here and you are a receiver. I am trying to convey some message to you and you will receive it, you will understand it, and if you like it, if you understand it, you can revert me back with your feedback or a review. So, there are few more definitions which describes about the communication process, where when we say the communication is a skill, is a process, so here we will try to understand what does the process means. It is just like a cycle where the writer Joseph A. DeVito said few words on or gave in the definition of communication process. He said the systematic process in which individuals interact with and through symbols to create and interpret meanings in a particular context. Whereas Corey Flood also added few words or ideas about this, and he gave the definition the process by which people use signs, symbols, behaviors to exchange information and create meaning. Today, I am sharing my views on communication and I am trying to convey something through these slides. So, this is used as a sign or symbols for you, and we are trying to exchange some knowledge which creates a meaning at the end. Just try to understand this slide. Here is a communication process which is very briefly described, where there is a sender. He tries to send the message to the receiver, where a sender can send anything in message. That can be in semantics. Semantics are the signs which our brain sends. Emotions, language, culture, attitudes, role expectations, gender specific focus, or non-verbal messages. In another slides, we will try to understand what is non-verbal stands for. Here, the sender try to send some message to the receiver. Whatever is sent through this sender filters will be received in this receiver's filters. Here, the senders encodes the message and here receivers decodes the message. When they understand the complete message, whatever is sent by the receivers shares its feedback to the sender. It's like a complete cycle. In this slide, we will try to understand what does actually the communication process stands for or what does the communication process holds. Here, communication is the interpersonal process of sending and receiving messages between two or more people. There can be two people, there can be more people, there can be group of peoples, and there can be a crowd where you were asked to communicate the same message what you want to convey. Here, what is the role of a sender? Senders can be responsible for encoding an intended message into a meaningful verbal or non-verbal symbols, whereas it goes through a channel. What is the channel? Today, I am recording a video for you. I'm sharing, so I am a sender. And what is the channel? The channel is a social media platform. It can be YouTube, it can be WhatsApp, it can be any other source. So that holds a channel. So here, channel is considered as a medium through which the message is conveyed by the sender to the receiver. It can be in written, it can be in speaking, or you can say verbal, it can be a video, it can be a audio, where the receivers is the one who decodes or interprets the meaning of the same message in order to understand it, where the feedback. This reverses the communication process and conveys the response back to the sender. So this is the whole process of communication. Now, we will try to understand the types of communication. See, communication is the act of transmitting information, ideas, attitudes, or one person to another. Thus, the communication takes place among individuals belonging to various categories or backgrounds. They put into operation various types of communication. Here in this slide, you will see verbal communication. What do you understand by verbal communication? Today, I am speaking to you. I am orally trying to convey some message. So, this is a part of a verbal communication. Written communication. Another type of communication is written communication. Whatever is written and conveyed to you as a message is considered as a written communication. For examples, reports. For example, letters. Or it can be any document. For example, your resume or CV. That is also comes under written communication. Now look at the another type of communication which is non-verbal communication. And here you can look at this girl, this picture where there is a cross on the mouth, on her lips. That shows that some things which is conveyed without a word by our body language, gestures, postures, hand movements, eye contact, and so on, that are considered as non-verbal communication. Now we will move forward to the mass communication. Mass communication can be done through various platforms. Social media is one of them. Newspaper is one of them. Another one is visual communication. today we are doing this video lecture. This is a best example of visual communication where you can see the many pictures are there and you can understand what does that mean. The another best example of visual communication is television or mobile phone. Another type of communication is group communication. In your classroom, you sit in a group of people. So you can understand the communication, whatever you try to convey to your friends, is considered as group presentation. The last one is feedback communication. When you go for a shopping or you do online shopping, they will ask you to fill a feedback form that can be through online or you will get a mail to drop a feedback. The same things comes under the feedback. It is like a response of something whatever you have understood and you are giving your feedback, your valuable words or review on that. Now, moving forward, verbal and non-verbal communication. This is the main source or means of communication skills. Types of verbal skills. What do you understand by verbal? Today we are doing our verbal skills. We are sharing through words. So there are 5 types of verbal communication. We will try to understand. One is intrapersonal communication. Here, intrapersonal communication tells you about the one person's mind. Whatever we think or overthinking is one of the best example of intrapersonal when we convey our messages through words but most of the thoughts or views or ideas in our brain but we don't know how to convey to the another person but we try to convey or our brain sends some signals to the another person through intrapersonal communication. Another type is interpersonal communication, where we try to convey our words or our feelings or messages through words. The third type is small group communication, where we work as a team or a small groups. For example, your friend circle. It is the best example, and you can also understand by looking at this picture where a coach is giving instruction to his team, a football team. In another, there is a public communication. Best example to understand a town hall meeting. Why it is important? Because they try to convey their thoughts, they try to give you the right information, what is going on in our campus, how many campus drives have happened, and many other important details you will get by public communication. You will also look at this picture where a political party is trying to share their message to their follow people. The last type is mass communication. Mass communication is much more into media. You can understand there is a cameraman, there is a anchor, there is a pageant winner. Non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is the transmission of messages, signals through a non-verbal means or platforms such as eye contact, facial expressions, gestures, postures, and distance between two individuals. So you can look at this facial expressions. By our facial expressions we can understand who is in anger, who is happy, who is sad. We can understand this is a part of a non-verbal communication. Another type is touch. When we do handshake, that is comes under as a communication skills. Another one is body movements and postures. Body movements, yes, positive body movements, eye contact, gestures. Now we will try to understand what does all that means in another slide. There are types of non-verbal communication. Here are the few important ones which we are going to discuss today in this lecture. First one is kinesis. Kinesis about a body language such as facial expressions, gestures. Gestures means making or showing something with the help of your fingers or your fingers movements. Another one is body postures, how you sit, how you stand, how you walk. This is all very important in a communication skills. How you do a movement, your handshake, every single movement of your body is important. Another type or the second type of nonverbal communication is proxemics. Proxemics is a personal space or distance that individuals maintain while communicating. See, here is a good example of kinesis. Kinesis, crossed arms, leaning forward, hand gestures, handshake, hands on hips, open arms, touching face, pointing. So all these are considered as body postures or body movements. What does that mean? Crossed arms. Sometimes we cross our hands or arms when we are attentive. Leaning forward means we are just straight and we are very much attentive and very careful about something. Hand gestures like this. If you like something, you will do a thumbs up. Handshake. When you meet someone for the first time, you will give them a warm handshake. That is a very important part of a communication where you convey or show some respect to the another person. It's like a greeting. Hands on hips. That means you're worried or you are not able to understand what's going on. You're confused. Open arms. That means you are happy. Touching face. If you touch your face like this, that shows you're not interested. Pointing. That shows aggression. Gestures. Thumbs up. That's everything is good. Handshake. Fingers off lips. That means you don't want to speak or keep silent. Thumbs down. That means you didn't like something. You give clapping hands or round of applause when you appreciate someone. Pointing a finger, that means you are pointing out something which you don't like. High five is when you give in excitement or when you're happy or when you're cheerful. Another type is peace. We show peace. We will try to understand in another slide. Here, it is a good example of proxemics. Proxemics shows the space, the distance, how much distance you have to maintain in a within a person, how much the distance should be there when you're standing next to someone. The first space is intimate space and which is shows the intimacy between two person and there is a distance of 1.5 feet or close, less than 1.5 feet. is considered as intimate space, whereas another circle shows the personal space, where a person is 1 feet till 4 feet far from the another person. For example, when you talk to someone, to your friends, that consider as a personal space. Then comes the social space, 4 feet till 12 feet. So, when you come near to your teachers or professors, lecturers, or some seniors, you have to maintain a social space. You should stand 4 feet to 12 feet far from them. That shows respect. Then comes the public space. Public space is starting from 12 feet to more. So it shows when you're giving a public speaking or presentation, extempore, jam, and so on, that is considered as a public speaking or public space when you stand and talk about it. In this another slide, we will try to understand the vocalics. What do you understand by the vocalics? Just we will go back. Vocalics means when we try to speak to some other person, our pitch, how it should be loud, low, medium, the rate of or the frequency, how we are speaking, how fluently we are speaking, slowly, fastly, or very slowly, it all matters. Then our volume. If I say students, if I say students, there is a difference. If I'm saying loud, that means I want your attention. If I'm saying students in such volume, you will understand that ma'am is sharing her thoughts or views or trying to convey some message. So there is a difference. Look at this slide. This is the last slide where we will try to understand about the positive eye contact or the eye contact. How eye contact is very important in communication. This is a very vital part of a communication, non-verbal communication, where our eye speaks a lot more than our words, right? So the first picture shows attentiveness and focus. When you attend your classes, you are attentive, the teacher can make out just by looking at your eyes. If you're focused, the teachers understand. If you are talking to your friends, we know you're busy or you're not interested. Another type of eye contact is shows sincerity and trustworthiness. That means when you are attentive, when you listen, you are sincere and the another person will trust you for that. Another type of eye contact shows a connection or empathy with the sender to the receiver. The final type of eye contact shows the confidence, how confident you are while talking to them. So, this is all about the communication skills. I hope you understand the difference between a verbal and a non-verbal communication, where we started with the communication skills and the major types verbal and non-verbal. Verbal through words, non-verbal through gestures, postures, body language, eyes, vocals, and so on. I hope you understand what I try to convey. Thank you for your patience, for your time. I hope you understand all the topics really well. All the best.